of Aus Academics. I am with you today with a part two of Agile methodologies. We've given you an overview of the methodologies that are actually used in Agile ACP exam and PMP exams. So today I'm going to run you through the second and the larger part of the of that exam, um, which will help you understand different Agile concepts as well. So I've actually had a list of 100 concepts in Agile that I could shed some light on and help you understand why they're being developed and how useful they are when you're actually running Agile-based projects. So the first one is extreme programming. Extreme programming is a development methodology that emphasizes on customer satisfaction and continuous feedback from the customer as well. So putting that into the IT scenario, uh, you you take your programming to a level where you meet the absolute customer satisfaction. Actually, you do have the iterative delivery like you do have in most agile projects as well. So you do get customers' feedback on the codes you actually develop. And the next concept is feature-driven development. Feature-driven development is once again, being agile means being iterative, and obviously you deliver in different increments. So it's a purely IT based and software development methodology that's focused on building and designing the code or the features of the project to the customer's needs and requirements. Fist of Five is another concept where you build a consensus between different agile teams, where team members actually vote on the project in the Fist of Five. So, for example, I am a team member, and there's certain features of a product or the way the project's being run. That my agreement, one will be the minimum and five will be the absolute maximum level of agreement with the features we're developing for that product. Next concept is impact mapping. Impact mapping is a strategic planning technique in Agile that helps the team different activities with overall business goals and objectives. So it's actually, if you're running a project in the Agile environment or methodologies, and if you were to zoom out a bit from the project itself, so you have a better understanding of end-to-end goals and outcomes of the project. So this is where we start. Uh, uh, Increments, features, sprints, and towards the end as well, delivery of the project as well. Coming back to the next concept, which is incremental delivery. This is also an agile approach where the product is developed in small, manageable, different increments, where you have continuous feedback from the customers, allowing the frequent reassessment of the work being done and the adaptation of the changing environment. So information radiators is the next one. This is also a tool. It's large, it's visible, and most of the agile environments are very non-software based as well. So if you were looking at, for example, an information radiator will be something similar to traffic signs. They're big, they're bright, they're yellow, and they do illuminate at night as well. So it gives you a clear understanding of what you need to do on the road as a road user. So key information is actually being delivered in large, big, bright way of doing it. Iteration planning, um, again, is the planning of different iterations of or features of the project, and that again you're meeting the objective of the iteration or the sprint as well. Kanban is a methodology, very Japanese. It's very visual, very manual, and we do limit work in progress in Kanban, maximizing the efficiency and flow. Kanban board on the other side is a big board that's that actually outline what needs to be done. It visualizes your work and different stages in different columns and cards. So very visual and as I said to you previously, a non-software based lean methodology. Lean methodology, it started hundreds of years ago, very Japanese, and first implemented by a company called Toyota, one of the world's largest manufacturers of automotives and different other technologies. So, mainly focus on, as the name suggests, very lean. You eliminate the waste, you cut the waste in a process, ultimately saving. So, just to give you an example of a measuring methodology that's being used along with Lean, it's Six Sigma, and Toyota meets the benchmark of Six Sigma manufacturer. That means only 3.4 defective units per million of units manufactured, which is very, very hard to achieve. Honda used to have that status at one stage, but now Toyota sustains that level of being lean. Large scale Scrum. Scrum, as you know, it's a subdivision of an agile methodology and an agile framework for scaling Scrum to multiple teams, large teams working on the same project or objective. Minimum marketable feature, we also call that MVP as well, minimum viable product, which means the minimum smallest set of functionality of a project that can be delivered or presented to the customer, while the main product with extensive features is actually being developed by the teams. Pair programming, you actually have if you put that in IT concept, pair programming is something that means you actually have two people working on the same task as well for one programmer. So one's developing the program, the other one's testing simultaneously as well. When you do know what you're doing, you and someone's actually tapped you on the shoulder, for example, a servant leader in agile methodologies tap you on the shoulder and told you what to do, you'll feel offensive. On the other side, if you are in the process of learning and if you're told something by a team leader, you appreciate it more. And there's a term that's sent by God for that particular scenario. Planning poker is also a consensus-based gamified technique used in agile environments for estimating the effort or size of development goals. So the effort that needs to be done in developing a certain part of the product. Software in the IT concept, and the technique encourages the discussion and provides an entertaining approach to reaching agreement on story points as well. Story points are different activities which are broken down from a sprint. Sprint on a larger scale is a combination of a large number of story points. Story points can be as short as, depending on the team's velocity, story points can be short or long depending on the requirement of the product. Product owner, very pivotal and important role in a project. And in both Agile, Scrum, and frameworks, the product owner is responsible for defining, prioritizing the backlog, defining the user story. User story is a set of work that needs to be done in the product development, and also setting up the project's direction to maximize the efficiency and delivery, minimizing the delivery time and maximizing efficiency of the project as well. He acts as a liaison between the stakeholders or customers. In simple language, it's the product owner is the customer's voice, as I said to you yesterday, and basically he or she ensures the development team has a good understanding of the customer's requirement, hence the requirement and objectives of the project. Product roadmap is a high-level strategic visual summary outlining the vision, direction, priorities, and process of the product over time. So if you were to draw, I'm not sure if you use Jira or Asana, being the project management softwares, they do provide a high-level strategic summary of what needs to be done, the vision, direction, priorities, um, and the progress of the product development over time. Next methodology, the next term in Agile is the rapid application development. It's an Agile software development approach that emphasizes on rapid prototyping and iterative delivery. So RAD being short for rapid application development, that you come up with a prototype or minimum viable product as quickly as possible. Hence, providing the customer a sample of the product before the actual final products being delivered. So the improvements can be made or the changes can be made without wasting time and money. Next concept we have is SAFE, is Scaled Agile Framework Enterprise, an Agile framework for scaling Agile principles, practices to large organization and complex projects. So SAFE is basically, in a nutshell, it's a method. It's a framework of implementing the principles and practices onto large, more complex, and projects with a large, high magnitude. Scaled Agile is a practice for applying Agile methodologies to large projects. Once again, in a context at a magnitude of an entire organization, for example, with 200 or 300,000 people working for it. Scrum, as I said to you before, is an Agile framework for managing complex projects. Typically, IT software development emphasizing iterative progress, collaboration, and flexibility. All right, so how many we've got so far? Scrum of Scrums is a technique that's in Scrum that's used to coordinate complex projects, once again, involving multiple teams, and the teams could be co-located or virtual, or could be located in the same city or same building, or the same continent or city or country for that matter, where representatives for each and every team meet either visually, virtually, to discuss the progress of the project and impediments. Scrumban is a combination of Scrum and Kanban, where it's a hybrid Agile methodology combining elements of Scrum and Kanban. Kanban, as I said to you, is a very visual board, a very graphic representation of what needs to be done. Scrum, on the other side, is a framework. Combining both, you transition from Scrum to a more flow-based approach. So there's two different types of Scrum. You have iteration-based in Agile, and you have flow-based approach as well, depending on what are the requirements from the customer and the project itself. Spike is a task in Agile methodology, where particularly in Scrum, for researching a question or a problem to gain a deeper understanding. So you actually allocate certain resources within the team. You invest resources to try and get an understanding of a deeper problem within the project. So sprint is a fixed time period in Scrum methodology during which specific work needs to be completed. Sprint, usually the maximum duration of a sprint is 4 weeks and the minimum duration is 2 weeks. So it ranges between 2 to 4 depending on the requirements of the product. Sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is a list of tasks identified in Scrum or by the Scrum team to be completed before the next sprint within the project. Sprint retrospective is a meeting at the end of each sprint in Scrum to reflect on the process and identify improvements for the next sprint. So basically, it's a fancy name to lesson learned in Agile. Lesson learned in predictive style of projects used to be a lesson learned meeting or a lesson learned review meeting, and also you document those lesson learned into the archive to learn, so the next projects can learn from those lessons, basically. So stakeholders, a pretty basic definition. You've got sprint review meetings, as I said to you as well. You've had project review meetings in waterfall, and you have sprint review meetings. It's also towards the end of each sprint. Story point is a unit of measurement used in agile methodology or framework to estimate the effort required to implement a user story or a task. The time, the team effort that's required to complete a task is called a story point. Guys, we have a few concepts to go. TDD, test-driven development, is an agile approach or a technique where tests are written before the code. So ensuring the software is tested thoroughly from the outset. So you ensure, as you test the project, you ensure the bugs are actually removed, so you don't have to go back to the starting point when you do finish developing that particular code. UAT, very typical IT term, user acceptance testing. UAT is a process where end users test a system to verify that it can handle the required tasks in real world scenarios, ensuring it meets the needs for the customer. So guys, we have a couple more to go. We have value stream mapping, value stream mapping, VSM. It's a lean management technique or a method for analyzing the flow of materials and information that's required to bringing a product or a service to the customer. So hope this all makes sense to you. And if you do have any questions, feel free to contact me on the number below, or we should be very happy to provide you with further details on these concepts. And good luck with preparing for your Agile or PMP exams. Thank you.